I'm Mike Tove with AIN Services.
And I'm Bill Alexander with W.G. Alexander & Associates, attorneys for estate planning, elder law, and asset protection.
And welcome to Money Secrets with Bill and Mike. Oh, Bill, we're going to have some fun today.
Well, we've been talking about taxes, and
Yes.
I think that's on a lot of folks' mind.
Well, actually, and of course, today I want to do a little bit with business. I can remember when I started my business, oh my God, a long time ago, and it was scary at first, and there were so many concerns, and taxes are one of them.
Taxes is a big concern for every business, so I'm with you on that.
So yeah, so we're going to have some fun, and
well, we have to see what other folks think about
that's
this
right.
too.
Well, we're going to go out and we're going to do that. But what we need to do is take a quick break, and we're going to come back and talk about small business and taxes and whether or not it's a good time or a bad time to be doing this. Please stay tuned. Yes, so taxes and small business.
Well,
I know there's some
let's-
changes.
Well, there's some big changes, but let's first start at the top, if you will. And people should know that the 2018 tax change, the focus was on business, but truthfully, it was on big business. Now, we need to talk a lot about small business, but the big winner in this tax change was the big corporations.
Right.
Most corporations, particularly the big ones, had a tax rate of 35%, some even more. But tax rates have been cut across the board. You know, before there was a graduated income tax scale, just like for individuals, for corporations. But corporations now have a flat tax of 21%. So corporate taxes were cut from, for most corporations, 35% down to 21%. So they are clearly the big winners.
Right. However, I don't think most of our listeners are going to run out and start a Fortune 500 company over the weekend.
No question about it. Now, truthfully, there is no business that really does not get at least some break in the new tax code. But
Right.
most economic development isn't based on the big companies, it's actually small business.
And quite frankly, wasn't that the foundation of the country in the first place, that it was on private enterprise, small business, private business?
That's right. And so basically, most businesses in this country, and I think most of our audience that have a business, they are taxed, not like the big corporations, but they have what we call pass-through income. In other words, their business is not taxed at the business level. In essence, their profits or losses from their business actually flow through to their personal income tax return. And that's true for what's called an S corporation. It's also true for limited liability companies, partnerships, joint ventures, sole proprietors, basically everybody other than the big corporations.
In other words, mom and pops.
Absolutely.
And
that's actually the reason that mom and pops actually establish their business that way is because they know that if they establish it this way, that the losses that they incur, particularly in the first few years of a lot of small businesses, go right on to their personal income tax return, which is not true for the big corporations.
Right.
So there are a number of things that we need to talk about in terms of, okay, how did the mom and pops benefit by the new tax changes? And there's some significant things.
Well, and the thing of it is, and there's two groups within this. There are people that are using small business as their primary source of income, but there's also a lot of folks who, after they get done working for the man, right? Retire, but they retire and then they start a small business, maybe a consulting firm, maybe some type of a part-time business to stay busy, to keep
Well, you don't have to
things
be
going.
retired to do that.
No,
that's for
right.
sure. There are an awful lot of folks.
And so I want to cover both of those. So
Sure.
stay tuned. We will be right back and get into this.
Do you own a small business by any chance?
Yes.
Yes, I do.
No, I don't.
I'm self-employed, yeah. 1099.
Do you think the taxes in regards to that will change, or will that?
There was a noticeable increase in my hourly employees' take-home pay with the recent adjustment. So most of my hourly employees were very delighted with the extra cash.
I gotta take a look at it. I don't think it's gonna change dramatically. I don't have any employees, but obviously for small businesses, I think it's gonna help them out because they've been struggling for a while on the small business side. But I think for the small business, it's gonna be a plus, definitely. This new tax reform.
Welcome back. It's always interesting to see what folks have to say.
Absolutely, and most of us, there's a lot of confusion out there as to how taxes are actually going to affect each of our mom and pop businesses out there.
Well, let's start in with that. I mean,
the key shift. The first thing that folks need to know is, number one, is that they haven't lost any of their business deductions. Anything that's reasonable and ordinary business deduction, everything that they've always had before are still deductible. So to the degree, they're not limited on their property taxes or sales taxes or the like. They also actually get a huge benefit in terms of a depreciation. In other words, for businesses that purchase equipment, such as a car or a vehicle. Right. In the past, in order to be able to deduct everything paid in the first year, it had to be large equipment, over 6,000 pounds. But now any equipment can be passed off, in other words, 1 year depreciation, if you want. So you can write off the entire ticket in the first year. Well, that's huge. Right. For a lot of small businesses to be able to do that.
If you're starting a business, for example, and you need to keep books and so forth, you can buy a computer.
And you can write every bit. In other words, you don't have to write it off over 5 years, 10 years,
right?
Or the like. So being able to write off all of those expenses in 1 year is a huge benefit to a lot of businesses. The biggest tax break for most mom and pop businesses is the fact that the top or the 20% of your business income will not be taxable. There's a hitch to that.
Right.
It's not going to be true for everyone, but for most mom and pop businesses, they will not pay tax on 1/5 of their income.
See, that's really big, but there is a threshold at which it starts to phase out, which means you don't get to do it anymore.
That's right, and that phase out bracket is $315,000, which not bad.
No.
Okay, and a lot of businesses aren't in that bracket. But the bottom line is, there's a hitch to it though. It's not $315,000 of business income. It's $315,000 of total income.
But is that revenue before expenses or after?
Well, what I'm getting at is, let's say that you actually are an employee and you make $75,000 as an employee, and then you have a rental property and you make another $50,000 on your rental properties, and then you have a business.
Right.
Well, you have to add in all of that income, and if you're under $315,000, then you get the 20% break. If you're above $315,000, there's a phase out over the next $100,000 of total income. And so if you're over $415,000, you don't get any break whatsoever. But if you're under $315,000, you get the full 20%.
That kind of sounds like they're punishing you for being too successful.
Well, it is, and unfortunately, the folks that are in that bracket might even consider shifting into a big corporate structure, what we call a C corporation, because then that would push their numbers much lower.
Yeah. So what are some of the other considerations for small business owners with regard to getting set up? Because it seems to me like this is a good time to be doing it. If you've ever thought about getting into small business and were afraid because of the tax structure,
you know, today so many people are creating home businesses. There are a lot of folks who work from home because that's what they want. And those folks really need to take advantage of these new tax laws, because it's a huge advantage to have a home-based business or any business. So the folks out there who have been thinking about jumping into doing something, you will find there are some huge advantages to doing that.
What about people that are in the real estate rental business?
Well, I had a number of clients ask me, we've owned this personally. We've filed on Schedule E, which anybody who has real estate knows about Schedule E. Do we have to form a business in order to get our same deductions, not to be limited by the new SALT, you know, the limitation on your local and state income, or all taxes from state and local? And the answer is no. In other words, if it's a business, if it's rental, now that doesn't mean investment income, I guess I have to make a distinction, but if it's rental income, then basically you will get all of the same deductions that you've always gotten.
Right, so no loss, no advantage, but no loss in this one regard.
Well, no tax advantage.
Yes, okay.
There are
fair
lots
enough,
of other
yes.
advantages to
I meant
organizing
changes.
differently,
Yes,
but
okay.
no tax advantages.
So, all right, so we're going to be right back and we're going to wrap this up. Stay tuned.
All right. So, as a small business owner, how do you think this most recent tax reform is going to affect you? Do you think your taxes will go up or down, or?
They're supposed to go down, so I hope they will.
I believe the taxes are going to decrease, so they'll be going down, which will be very beneficial to a small business owner.
I hope as a small business owner that they will go down, because small business owners, we struggle.
Do you have any ideas what you might spend the extra money on?
Well, I'm not certain exactly what I spend on, but I think that you can look at hiring more employees.
For the shop, we would probably give it a coat of paint, do a little bit more advertising.
Expanding your inventory, maybe doing upfits in your building to make it more up to date.
Save it for when they go back up, if they go down.
Welcome back. I get so many folks that talk to me about how they think about starting a business, but they don't know how to start, and it really is about structure. It's what should a business consist of, and some basics.
Well, it really depends to some degree, but for those folks who maybe make jewelry at home or something along those lines, you don't have to spend a whole lot of money structuring your business initially. You can be what's called a sole proprietor.
Sure.
With no organization at all. You just start spending money to create a business and create money for yourself.
And you can market online, you can market at
Sure.
crafts fairs, at flea markets. Mm-hmm. A lot of towns, especially the smaller ones, have an annual or now semi-annual organized crafts fair.
Well, it gets a little more complicated once there's more than one person involved. And that's true even if it's your spouse. But it's okay, how do you organize? And truthfully, for most people, you can do a partnership, but that's pretty dangerous to do it just on a handshake without having some formal agreement. And if you're going to go that far, I would say you're much better off having a limited liability company. When you do that, you can choose how the business is taxed, and you get that limited liability just like you form a big corporation. Same thing.
Now, for
fairly
the folks
inexpensive to do.
Right, and I was going to say that for those, because I've done plenty of LLCs, and I know you have, but for those who have never ventured into that, just give us an idea about how not hard it is to set up an LLC.
Well, the bottom line is you have to submit articles of organization in North Carolina with the Secretary of State. The cost with the Secretary of State is $125 initially to organize, and then $200 each year thereafter. So right now, anybody who's organized is now paying that annual fee to the Secretary of State. There also is organizational documents that should be, in other words, that's the agreement that you have with your partners as to how you will do business, and that's an important part of the legal.
But they're not massive either.
But no, they're fairly simple,
Right.
not particularly difficult, and part of it is the decision as how will we be taxed. And most are taxed like a partnership is taxed. In other words, where the money flows through the company directly to your personal income tax return. And those are the very businesses that get that 20% off the top of their business income.
Right.
But they also get some advantages on their deductions as well, because they get all of their same deductions that they've always had, or could have, I should say. But the biggie for most small businesses is the ability to write off their purchases in 1 year. That's really huge, because just think about it. Let's say that you have done fairly well in your first year, and instead of a loss, you've actually made $30,000, but you need a new car. Well, guess what? You can go out in November, December, buy that new car, write it off, and show no income at all for the year. So that's a nice advantage.
Yeah. Give us some of the legal reasons why it would probably be a good idea for them to get professional help in drafting an LLC.
Well, it's very self-serving to say, come to see us and let us help you do it, but having some good advice. Most people who try to do it themselves, they can actually file the papers at the Secretary of State's office, but they forget everything else, and that's the problem. It's everything else that's really important. Having the organizational documents, deciding where and how to bank, deciding what their taxes, how their taxes will be done. Those kinds of issues are huge just in getting organized. But it's not as difficult, nor is it that expensive to actually do that. Having limited liability is a real big plus for folks, and for most people, they should consider that as something that's very important to them.
So anyway, we will take a short break, and we'll come back and wrap this up with our money secret and talk to you then.
We're wondering how the most recent tax reform might affect the taxes regarding small businesses. What are your thoughts on that?
I am not sure exactly how the new tax reform is going to affect many of our members, but that's really why we recommend that they reach out to their tax advisor or their local CPA. We have many, many excellent professionals who are members of the Wake Forest Chamber, and I highly recommend you get good advice before you take any action based on the tax reform.
Welcome back. So our money secret is?
Well, the clear money secret is for those folks who've had a hobby. This is a time to push it a little harder, make it into a real business.
If they want to, but...
Well, sure, but I mean, there's so many advantages tax-wise, which puts more money in their pockets if they have a business. And it can be a home-based business.
Sure.
Or it doesn't have to be storefront or
Yeah,
the like.
There's a lot of folks that have something that they do that they've always wanted to, but they're always a little afraid.
Well,
and
now's the time.
Now is the time, because first of all, we have some tax advantages. It's as good a time to be getting into business for yourself as it has been in a long while.
Right.
And if they change the laws back, which they could presumably do in the future, you have gotten in at a time when
it's very favorable.
It's very favorable. And so if you had ever thought about taking your favorite hobby and turning it into a business, now's the time.
No question about it.
So tune in next week for another episode of Money Secrets with Bill and Mike, and we're going to have some fun, and see you then. Thanks for watching.
You've been watching Bill and Mike with Money Secrets. Bill Alexander is an attorney with W.G. Alexander & Associates in Raleigh. They focus on estate planning, asset protection, and elder law. Find them at wgalaw.com. You can catch Bill on the radio on Saturday mornings at 11 a.m. with Asset Protection Today on WPTF 680 AM. And come join him on every second Wednesday of the month for a free seminar. Just call 919-256-7000 for more information. That's 919-256-7000. Mike Tove is a financial planner with AIN Services. They can be reached for all your planning needs at 1-800-363-2296 or online at ain-services.com. You can also join Mike Tove for seminars on how to take control of your retirement. Just call 1-800-363-2296 to find out when he will be in a city near you.